What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome on back to another episode of the Release Valve slash Mental Warfare.
Slash, I like the slash.
I am Sean Hanlon, your host of the Release Valve, and I am joined by my right hand, my brother from another, Kyle Spain of Mental Warfare. Welcome back, sir. How are you?
I am well, sir. Great to be back in a shorter amount of time. You know, we're really about to get this thing going, get this thing rocking, trying to reach as many people as we can, trying to connect, trying to get people to feel better about themselves, feel better about life, trying to obtain peace and happiness.
Right.
Peace and happiness.
Right.
Really feeling good about being back on here. You know, the enemy is always trying to distract and trying to stray us away from doing what feels best, but we are here trying to establish some type of discipline and in certain areas, which is a requirement for success, right? And so just continuing to build, brother. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Every single time we come on here, man, I already feel just better about everything that's going on. I feel like I'm already, it's almost exciting, like I'm receiving a gift, and just in the anticipation and the build up to getting on here, I just get that excitement, like it's like a birthday's coming up or a Christmas or something like that. I just have this excitement that I feel like I'm about to get something, I'm about to gain something. And I truly feel like that's the case. Every time we come on here, whether it's just you and I, or we have another guest, or whatever the case is, I truly feel like it's an opportunity to, like you said, connect and heal and grow, release and gain new perspective and yeah, just all of the above, man. So I'm feeling good. I'm glad that we're back on here. And I'm looking forward to keeping the ball rolling,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, man. Well, what do we got today? What do we got for the people?
Yeah, a little while back on Instagram, I put out on the page and on the stories, I put out an opportunity for the followers or the listeners, the people that pay attention and follow along our journey to ask us questions. Anything in relation to ourselves or any of the guests that we've had on or whatever, and we got a few questions. I was a little nervous. I wasn't sure if anybody was going to respond to any of them or not, or what kind of questions they were going to ask. But these are we got a few good ones, man. So I'm excited about it.
Right.
So this is all anonymous. I said it would be anonymous. I wouldn't put anybody's name out there, put anybody on the spot, just in case. But so the first one actually is for you, Kyle. Where did Kyle play in the NBA, and where are all the places that he did play?
Okay, so all right, I played in the mini camp. I was in the mini camp with the Wizards. I played. I got invited to Vegas to go play in summer league, and so that was the extent of my NBA run. I had got invited to training camp, but I was misguided, by my agent at the time. Didn't really have any mentorship or any guidance. Got invited to training camp. I was like, I was telling my agent that, I'm like, I need some money, straight out of college, of course, right? And he was just kind of giving me the option to choose for myself, not really giving me any guidance. But I was like, all right, well, I'll just go to Belgium and make a little money, right? And then after that year, I'll come back to the Wizards and I'll do the whole training camp thing, right? Because I'll have some money at that point. But little did I know what was going to happen. I ended up breaking my foot at the end of the end of the year in Belgium, and I had got invited back to the Wizards camp, but I was nowhere near ready. It was almost depressing how much muscle mass and strength I lost, and I completely bombed it, bro. Completely bombed it. I was falling all over the place. I couldn't even hold myself up. That's how weak my legs were.
Oh wow!
So I couldn't even play defense, and I was just falling all over the place, and that was the end of that. Went to Belgium. So that was my first year. Went to Belgium, and then I went to the D League. When it was the D League back then, it's now called the G League.
Right.
Played in the G League. Played in the G League for a couple of years, and then I went to Holland. Holland, I played there for about over half a season, and then I left Holland, and then I went to go play in Mexico. All right, won a championship in Mexico, and then after Mexico, I went to France, and I played in France for 4 years. After France, had some knee injuries, which set me back, and then I ended up going back to Mexico. A couple of years later, there was like between 2017 and 2019, there was a little bit of a hiatus. In 2019, I went to Mexico and I played in Mexico for a couple of years after that. And then 2022, I injured myself, my knee, career-ending injury. Not sure exactly what happened because I still haven't got it checked because I don't really want to know what the verdict is. But that's where my career ended. Yeah, so I finished out in Mexico 2022. But it was the path, right? There were so many things that happened as well because I had contracts, man. I had tore the labrum in my shoulder 2016, and I had a contract to go to Turkey, or not a contract, but interest to go to Turkey afterwards, but I had to get surgery. And then kind of like fell back, after I had a knee injury, and then I went to Chile, actually. I went to Chile, and then Japan was interested. I was going to go. Japan had interest in the 3-on-3 out there. Had a contract for Japan in 2020, but then COVID happened.
Right.
COVID happened, and then it shut everything down, so I couldn't even go. And then I ended up injuring myself in 2022.
Man,
so,
I knew so many people that were on the verge of something when COVID hit. Like, there was quite a few people that I knew that were like, I'm about to start looking at this business. I'm about to, get this job. Myself included, I was making a career change. And then all of a sudden that smacked everybody.
Halt.
Yeah, everything, man. That's wild.
Yeah. So a little bit more. Belgium, Holland, Mexico, Chile, and France.
Wow, that's pretty cool, man. That's some.
Dominican Republic too. I did Dominican Republic for a little bit.
Wow. Now, do you feel like you enjoyed going to all those places and playing in all those places, or were you in a different space mentally to where you kind of didn't really take everything away from it as you should have?
That's a great question because I feel like a lot of people don't understand that, and I feel like I'm blessed, to have been able to explore different countries. But it's not easy, especially when you're first going over there.
The way
of
living.
Culture, it's a complete culture shock. Yeah. The way of living is different. The way they eat is different. Obviously, there's a language barrier.
Right.
And then you're away from your family for 10 months out of the year. You know what I mean? And so as much of an experience it is, as soon as you go, it's like when school starts. It's like when school starts, you're ready for the school year to end. Right? You know what I mean? Right. And so it's like, okay, now you're really just like counting down the months. And so did that for at least 7 years until I came back from France. But no, not being, especially when we're on the grind. I mean, we did some exploring, of course. We went to Paris and stuff like that, and that was cool. And we did some fun stuff while we were in France for the most part. But it's a grind. It's not like we're out there vacationing and stuff like that. And so it's really work. You're out there working. I mean, you practice a couple of times a day, so it's not like you can just go explore anytime you want to, and then you play on the weekends. And so, just like any other job, you don't have too much time off or opportunities, to explore as much as people may think. So
right, yeah, exactly. It is a job, and I think that's something that a lot of people, myself included, weren't really exactly taking into consideration that you have a job to do, and the job isn't necessarily the game, right? It's the preparation for the game. It's all the work that gets put into leading up to the game.
Absolutely.
That's the job part. That's the work. And I can see not really being able to soak in the culture and everything that's going on around you and being able to enjoy it because, but the time that I'm spending here is taken away from either my time resting or my time with my family, or or
Yeah.
friends or whatever, all that type of stuff. So it's that's very interesting. I didn't think about that before him.
Yeah, it affects your gameplay too. If you're not in the happiest mood or you're not the happiest state of mind,
Right, feeling
it
flat,
affects.
don't
Yeah,
have that same
it affects
energy
the way it's.
level. Right, right. Yeah, there's a lot more mental to playing a game. I know it's just a game, but
Oh,
there's a
it's
lot
not.
more mental
It,
aspect that
it's
goes to it.
it is
That's
it is
anybody on the outside looking in, right?
man.
It's
Please, I'm
the
like,
people that
please
are at
stop.
home sitting on the couch watching it on TV, like watching this game or whatever. They don't realize what goes into it, and it's just as mental as it is physical.
Yeah, it's more mental than it is physical.
Right.
And people stop saying that it's just a game. It is not just a game. What's funny is like you think about Survivor and stuff like that, and like Big Brother or whatever the case is, and it's just a game. But people like winning, and when your emotions are involved, it's not just a game anymore.
Or when something's on the line, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like
Your emotions are involved. It's like
Exactly.
okay, it's like well, this could be
Exactly.
a possible game changer. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Like this
right.
can like change my life. You're invested. You're emotionally invested, and when you're emotionally invested, it's no longer a game. It's real life.
Absolutely.
It becomes reality. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Absolutely, for
people
sure.
people put their heart and soul into what they do as far as an athlete, especially nowadays.
Right. Again, talking about the time and dedication that's put in away from the game, all that's
Yeah.
being put into the game and getting better and working with teammates and building that camaraderie with them and getting on the same page with them so that way you guys are all functioning together all
Yeah.
as a unit type of thing. It's not just a solo thing. And you're still putting in that solo work too, hitting the gym, hitting the drills, hitting the workouts, hitting the everything.
Sure.
So it's a dedication, and it's funny because it is a way of life, and it's not just with basketball. It's with all sports really. It's not just a
Yeah.
game. It's not just entertainment. That's what the people that are observing it get back from it. But that's not
Yes.
what it's like for those that are in it. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
no,
Absolutely.
absolutely. That's why I made sure I said it's
Yeah.
just a game.
I-
Because yeah, it's not, man. It's really not. And somebody like yourself that spent so much of their life, their formidable years, and even a good portion of their adult years, it was spent dedicated to that craft. And like
Yeah.
you said, there was time taken away from family. You don't get that back. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah, there's a lot more to it than just the entertainment of a game aspect. So. Can you guys tell that hit a nerve a little bit with us? But all right, so next
What we got
question.
next?
Yeah, next question. Where did the podcast idea come from? I mean, this is a question that can go for both of us, so I'll let you
Yeah,
go
let's
first.
go. No, you can go ahead and answer. I answered the first one. You go
All
first,
right.
and I'll answer second.
Yeah, the podcast idea. I've been a podcast consumer for quite some time. I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan. Some people that may have made them cringe a little bit, and other people may have been like, "Hell yeah, Joe's the man." But I'm a big Joe Rogan fan. I love a lot of podcasts. Cameron Haynes, Keep Hammering, John Bernthal, Real Ones. Two Bears, One Cave. There's a bunch of podcasts that I like, but it was something for a while that I had a feeling of just kind of like that would be cool to do. Just a thought, kind of in the back of my mind. I'm like, man, that would be kind of cool to do one day. I've said this to my boy Neil a few times. Some of the conversations that we've had, I was like, man, that would have been a good podcast episode type of thing. So just little things like that. And then it came to this point of this one time period last year, almost a year to the date, right? Last year or a year and a half ago, whatever it was, that I just had this feeling of like, man, I really, really want to do a podcast. Like that is something that I can see myself doing.
Yeah.
I would say within like a day or two of having that real sit down concentrated thought, a couple days after that, my boy Reese, who's been a guest on here, shout out to Reese, He said something too. Him and I were having a conversation. He was like, "Man, we should do a podcast about this type of stuff." And I just had like a little mental note, like, "Oh, that's funny." I just had that thought too.
Yeah.
And then it was like the next day or the day after that, you and I were having a conversation, and then you were like, "Yeah, I'm about to do a podcast. You should do one too," type of thing. And I was like, "All right, that's it." Three flat out signs like that in a row.
Yeah,
Boom,
for
boom,
sure.
boom. I was like, "That's it. That's all it is for me. That's all I needed." Say less. And once I started actually heading down that road, it, like, I don't know, something came underneath my feet and just added wheels to my shoes or something and just started gliding me along, because I didn't even have to take steps anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I just started
Yeah,
going
for
in that
sure.
direction on my own.
Yeah.
This force was just kind of pulling and pushing all at the same time. So,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, here we are, a year later from launching. And I feel like it, just getting started. You know what I mean? Just getting
Yeah,
excited,
it's crazy.
really getting going on it. So, yeah, that's how it got started for me.
Nice. All right. How it got started for me. Getting injured in 2022. Having to, because I was still chasing that dream. However, I wasn't. I didn't act enough on the dream to be as successful as I wanted to, looking in hindsight. And I think a lot of that, with playing overseas, to go back to the last question, had a lot to do with it, because I wasn't the happiest, person playing basketball out of my country. It wasn't in the comfort of my own city or the comfort of people who were speaking the same language.
Right.
And so basketball is all that I knew. Sports was all that I knew, how I grew up. You develop and you become aware of certain other skills, but like what's comes easy to you is your passion, and that's really what you end up focusing on. And so trying to transition from basketball to real life was tough for me, really tough for me. You know what I'm saying? Going through the fires, man. I was going to the woods. I was depressed. I was angry. I was frustrated. I had displaced anger, and I'm like, one day I was sitting on the couch, and I remember, actually, now I'm thinking about it, and I was talking to my son. I was talking to Tyson about something, and I'm like, man, I'm like moping is like, it's like moping is a form of whining or whatever, right? And I was telling him, like, it's just because he likes to whine on a lot, right? And I remember doing a reflecting on what I said to him, and I do this a lot too when I'm talking to my kids. I always like to reflect, because I try my best not to be a hypocrite, right? And so
Yep.
I'm telling him to stop whining, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, bro, you're over here on the couch soaking, right? I'm like, it's like, that's a form of whining. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Right.
I'm not expressively like complaining, but like I'm over here like in my feelings about my life right now. And at that point, I was like, man, like this is really mental warfare. Like this is like the warfare. This is warfare in the mind, and like it's a battle between the voices that go on in your head. Like this is real. Like and a lot of people are experiencing it. A lot of people are going through this, and people like to put shame on those who talk to themselves. Of course, you've got the little kooks, where that are strung out on drugs and stuff like that, who expressively, speak with whatever is on their mind. But like, don't get it twisted. Everyone talks to themselves. We're all having debates and
Right.
and dilemmas, and trying to going back and forth. The whole consciousness. The consciousness and.
Right.
And we all talk to ourselves,
Internal
and that's
dialogue.
exactly, and that's really where the battle is at, And so for
Yeah.
that, I'm like, man, like I want to start a podcast and talk about these type of things, so we can get it out there, right? So we can bring it to light, and of course everything kind of like fell into place. We started talking, and I was like, man, like that's what I had brought it up to you. And then you said that's like, man, this is like the third time I heard it, and that kind of got that ball rolling as well, because I was like, man, like this would be dope to do it with Sean, right, side by side, and just talking to people, at the Y and stuff like that, and just becoming aware of a lot of the people that are actually dealing with things. That was like really like, all right, this podcast is what we need to do. And we need to get out there. We need to connect, because a lot of people are feeling like they're alone, and myself included. I had to go through the fire, but God pulled me out and showed me this. And we started our season, and we took a little bit of a hiatus, and then God, he yanked me right back in, having those same type of conversations with people. It's so real, and there's 8 billion people in the world, and we're all dealing with something, right? So there's got to be some way, somehow, to be able to connect, some way that we can start feeling better about life. And now here we are. So for the long story short, that's kind of how it happened.
Man, same thing, man. It was like a calling, right? All right, next one. Where we at? What is the hardest part about having a podcast?
I would just say that the technicalities that come with it, right? And so you got to do the marketing, you got to do the setup, right? You got to make sure the Wi-Fi is appropriate, right? You got to make sure all the equipment is on point. We dealt with that a whole lot in the beginning of our launch, right? Dealing with technical difficulties, the editing, right? Just trying to put it all together. And so it's basically like the behind the scenes stuff. Getting on here, of course, is just really easy. That's cake. That's no effort.
Right, yeah. Sometimes getting on here is just like
Yeah, it's a breeze. It's a breeze. Getting to the mic sometimes might be an issue. The enemy is always on attack.
Right.
But as soon as we get on here, it's breeze. It's love. It's peace. It's happiness. It's dope rush, right? It gets the juices flowing, right? And so, I would say that's the hardest part for me.
Yeah, I've hit different stages of where I was at with the podcast. I ran into different things. At first it was making sure I had all the equipment and the right stuff that I needed just to get started. And then it was all the technical difficulties because I'm not very tech savvy. So trying to figure all this type of stuff out with myself and asking a few questions here and there to some people, but I'm all over the place with it, trying to put it all together and figure it out. So at the beginning, it was just trying to put it all together. Now the hardest part is getting people to want to come on and talk and open up about some stuff, or just tell what they have going on, or just come on here and shoot the shit, whatever it is. It's a lot harder than I thought it would be to have people come on and just chill with us, really.
Yeah, I mean, and you can almost look at that in a positive sense. It's almost awareness. It's almost, if we're talking to our listeners and the people that are engaged in this, it's that example right there. What you just said as to why we started this podcast, right?
Right.
Of how many people are afraid to use their voice, right? But I wanted to talk about this later on too, imagination. But some people don't even feel like they're worthy or have any value, or they're just average, right? Because we're all on the same playing field, man. I don't put celebrities on a pedestal. Like I don't do any of that, right? I can be inspired, and I'll be inspired, but the road for everyone is a little bit different, and there's principles to life. There's formulas to life. There's formulas to success, and I believe that everyone has an opportunity to be successful. Everyone has an opportunity to be a creator, and everyone should feel like they're valued, right? Everyone should feel like they have their place in this world, because all of us have a piece of the puzzle, right? But it's the enemy that's on attack, and that's where the shade and the blinders are put on. Some people don't even feel like, man, I'm not even worthy enough. Like, who's going to want to listen to me? And I was that too. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's going to want to listen to what I have to say? Right. But God has continued to show me that, everyone has a voice, right? And everyone has feelings. You can learn from anybody. We're all here to make the world a better place. For me, being heavily into spirituality, you know what I'm saying? I believe there's energies on both sides of the fence. And I think becoming aware of that energy will allow us to make those appropriate steps to feeling better about ourselves, because insecurities and the lack of confidence are the prominent reason as to why we don't want to come out of here. Of course, like, we live in a shady and cold world, right? And so a lot of us, we've talked about before, The fear of expressing themselves is the fear of being judged.
Right.
A fear of someone making judgment or having an opinion about us. And obviously, if we're insecure about something, if somebody tells us something, we're just like, okay, well, now solidified. It's like, now I've been feeling that about myself, and now you said it, so it must be true.
Right.
Right. And so that's when we start backtracking and go into a hole and we shell up. But that's why we're here, and I like that you said that. I like how you brought that up and said that, well, this is the hard part. But there's a reason why it's hard. A lot of us are battling these demons, and we're suppressing our feelings, and we're not relieving it. And it's just like, I called it the other day. I was talking to somebody, and I called it a psychological or a spiritual virus is what I called it. I call it a spiritual virus. Leaving all those feelings and emotions inside and bottling them up, it messes with your spirit, man. It messes with your mindset. You're not the same person. You're more frustrated. You're more aggressive. You're more angry, right? And then for that, that's how you go out and operate in the world. Displaced anger. You carry an energy about yourself. Versus every time we come on here,
Projecting
right?
it outwardly every
Yes.
time. Yeah.
And it's easy because I did it the other day. Like when you have some type of emotion on your heart, right? And it comes out of your mouth. What comes out of your mouth is a reflection of the heart and how you're feeling. And so it's easy to have displaced anger when you're not in the right mindset. Like just being like responded. Like I responded to my wife the other day, and I did not respond well, because of how I was feeling, right? And I'm like, damn, I noticed I didn't mean for it to come off like that.
Right.
But because of how I was feeling, the energy behind it came out wrong, right? And so we have to continue to pay attention to that. But that's why we're here on this podcast, man, is so we can try and connect and provide that relief. And I didn't understand the magnitude of what how powerful this was until we started doing it. Getting on here with Barry. Shout out Barry.
Right.
Like the whole revealing to heal, and then just understanding and with the experience that came with it of how much better we felt every time coming on here, right? And so, I think like this should be a message to our people, to our listeners. It's difficult to have people come on, but why? Why is it difficult? You know what I'm saying? Why
Right.
are you reluctant? Why are people hesitant? And that's the problem that needs a solution for.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wonder how many people are questioning why they don't want to come on as opposed to just shutting it down. And because I've had a few people agree to come on, and then when it got time to that crunch time, you know what I mean? They kind of backtracked or just completely ghosted me altogether, which I find a little strange. But yeah, I mean, again, that's another, like you said, a reason for the podcast is to for those that really want to dive into what they have going on, and or just want to help others figure out what they have going on, type of thing. That's what it's for. And
Yeah, man.
I still appreciate everybody, because there's a lot of people that want nothing to do with being on a podcast, but are still following the journey, still paying attention, still engaging with me on social media. And I appreciate that aspect of it too, because I understand that it's not for everybody coming on and getting your face on camera and putting
Yeah.
your story out into the world. I get it. But yeah, so all right, moving on. We got a few more questions. What was the problem that you had that put you in the hospital? So a couple episodes ago, I told a story about how I went to the hospital, and the person that was on the podcast, how they were there for me during that time. Shout out to Joe. Yeah, so I had what we thought was an asthma attack. Well, I think what originally started out as an asthma attack. And for anybody that knows, for those that have asthma, when you have a really bad asthma attack, sometimes when you get medical assistance, what they'll do is pump you with steroids to help your lungs catch up and be able to catch your breath and control itself, type of thing. So when that happened, that's what they did. I was in an ambulance and they gave me steroids. So by the time I got to the hospital, my heart rate was through the roof. It was like 180 something beats per minute, and I was just laying there, you know. And
Yeah.
that's the what they say is equivalent to somebody that's like sprinting,
Right.
right? Not even jogging, like
No.
sprinting for
No.
an
No.
extended period of time.
Take it from an athlete. You know what I'm saying? Like you're
Right.
breathing hard at 180.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm just laying there. I wasn't doing anything, you know, no kind of
Right.
physical activity or anything like that. So there was a lot of panic that came around trying to figure out what was going on. You know, I was 19 at the time, 18 or 19 or 20, something like that. And so long story short, what it ended up being is it is called paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia.
How long
Ugh.
did it take for you to
Right,
remember
bro.
that?
It took a little bit I mean, first when the doctor said it, you know, it was crazy to hear. It was like hearing another language, and then seeing the words written down and stuff. It was like, damn. But it was one of those things where it was like, all right, well, if I have this and if I'm dealing with this, I should learn what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it did take a little bit, but yeah, so pretty much what it is a rapid and irregular heartbeat. Every now and then you'll just have these flare-ups of just, you know, an increased heart rate. Something to do with the valves in the heart and certain pulses that go through it that just cause like a random, you know, uptick in the heartbeat. The problem with that is as far as the seriousness of that's not too serious. It's pretty low on the totem pole as far as those type of heart conditions go. There are other ones that actually, you know, my dad has a different version of it. It's like Wolf, not what he has, but like the worst one is like Wolff-Parkin's syndrome or something like that, something along those lines. I can't remember the name of it, but it's really bad. You can like drop dead in like 30 seconds of having an episode type of thing.
That's
Well,
crazy.
so at the time that I had this going on, and we were finding these type of things out, you know, the internet was different. You know, the
Right.
access to information was different. So when the doctor gave the information, so I'm in California, my family's 3,000 miles away in Massachusetts. You get the information, and so my parents are out in Massachusetts, and they're Googling what they can, and they see that, you know, you can die within 30 seconds of having an episode. So, you know, they're freaking out, trying not to have me freak out. And, you know, my dad was about to come fly out to be with me type of thing because they didn't know what the hell was going on. But, you know, I go and see a heart specialist and get things taken care of. And, you know, obviously I made it. Shocker, spoiler alert for those that were unsure, I survived. Uh, but yeah, it was just kind of a nuisance. The problem with it, though, is when you have, you know, asthma is not that big of a problem by itself. It can be, but you know, it's nothing too crazy. PSVT in and of itself isn't life threatening. It isn't too crazy. But when you have the two, and one can trigger the other, you know,
Yeah.
I have stress and sports induced asthma. Um, so yeah, you know, having an increased heart rate, and if I'm stressed out or, you know, whatever the case is, they can trigger each other. So that over the years early on was kind of that became a problem. I had quite a few episodes not really knowing how to deal with what I had going on, and just being a stubborn kid, and, and wanting to ignore things because I felt like it wasn't cool to succumb to succumb to symptoms. But yeah, it was a struggle early on, but you know, over the years, I got used to it. I found better ways. I found ways to actually cope with it and deal with it, and, you know, slow things down for myself. I found the thing. You know, I became more aware of the things that were triggering my episodes and stuff, and yeah. So now, I mean, yeah, I definitely have moments of having like a little flutter type of thing, but
Yeah.
it doesn't get too crazy. So. Yeah, crazy time. You know, being 19, not really knowing what the hell's going on with your heart, but yeah, ultimately nothing too crazy.
Dang, I don't think I knew that. I don't think I ever knew that. That's crazy.
Yeah, you had just went to San Diego.
Okay.
I think that was your freshman year. It was right
Yeah.
after that time. Yeah, it was before I got out there.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a wild wild time, but yeah, nothing too crazy. It was crazy at the time, but yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Um, this is a funny one. This is good because you were actually there, so you can help chime in and talk about this as well. The question is, were you really on American Idol?
Yes, he was.
Yes, I was, but not for the reasons that most people are on American Idol.
Yes, I forgot about that. That's so
Yeah, it is, man. I can truly say that that was a time period that I was fully in the moment and was able to soak in everything that was going on real time.
Yeah.
And I that to this day, that's one of the best times I've ever had. It was one of the craziest, most random, but one of the funnest times ever.
Yeah.
The atmosphere, the vibes that were flowing through that building was crazy. But man, it was all right. So all right, yes, I was on American Idol, but not because not because I can sing or anything along those lines. We we had a mutual friend that I don't talk to the person anymore, but was an amazing singer, beautiful voice, the type of control, up and down. It was just an amazing singer. We found out that American Idol was holding auditions in San Francisco, and it was one of those like, you have to do this. Like everybody around was like,
Yeah.
you have to do this. You have to go and audition. Talking about this person, everybody was saying that she has to go and audition because she just had an amazing voice. For anybody that knows how this person was back then, again, I don't know how they are now, but back then they were the epitome of Nervous Nelly. Um, you know, anxious to the full degree. Anything that could that they could overthink and worry about, they would. Most kind-hearted, nicest person ever, sweetest person, but yeah, just so nervous and so kind of an introvert for somebody that was able to perform the way that they were able to perform, but was kind
Yeah.
of an introvert. Very struggled a lot with that type of stuff. So it took a lot for us to get her to even just agree to audition. It was we'll all go with you type of thing. How about
Yeah.
that? So that way you're
Yeah.
not by yourself. We'll all go. And it was like, okay. I think if you guys all go, I'll be able to do it. So we're like, all right, cool. Leading up to it, it was nope, no, thinking about it, I don't know if I could do it. All right, you know what we'll do, since we're all gonna go, we'll have like a sleepover the night before. We'll all get together, we'll all stay together, we'll all hang out. So that way, we'll all wake up together and we'll all go together. Like the whole thing, we'll just all be together the entire time. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I could do it. I think if you guys are all with me throughout this whole process, I think I'll be able to do it. All right, cool. So we're all hanging out the night before, and then same thing, thinking about it, talking about it. Nope, I can't do it. Sorry guys, I appreciate all the love and support, but I can't do it. And so I I decided to take things a step further, and I said, all right, how about this? I will wear my Tigger costume. And for anybody that knows, at that time period, I had a full body Tigger costume except for the face. And I said, I will wear this Tigger costume. I used to wear it to parties and random things all the time. I was kind of making a name for the Tigger suit. And so I said, all right, I'll wear the Tigger costume, so that way when you're auditioning, you can see us up in the crowd. You can see me wearing the bright orange suit type of thing.
Right.
You'll know that it's just all there to have a good time, and you'll be able to do it. Okay, yeah. You know what? That's great. If you do that, I know I could do it. All right, cool. On the way there, can't do it. turn the car around, mom. Like, not gonna happen. Can't do it type of thing. This is how often she changed her mind on this because she was so nervous. And so I said, all right, you know what? Fuck it. I will audition with you. So if, we'll both be doing it at the same time. You can see that I'm right there. I'll just dance and sing, do whatever. I'll beatbox, whatever the case is. And, at the at the time, Kyle and I were learning how to do backflips. We were getting really big into getting into backflips and doing that type of stuff. So that was a big thing of ours. And so Kyle was like, you get out there, get on television, hit a backflip. And I was like, all right, cool. Talking to this person, I said, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to dance, I'm going to sing, I'll hit a backflip, just there to have a good time to show.
Support.
You don't need to be, support. You don't need to be nervous. We're just here, fuck it, whatever. Look at me. I'm in a Tigger costume of all things. Like, let's just do it, just to do it. Okay, let's go. Let's do it. If you do it with me, I know I'll be able to do it. I'll have you right next to me. So, all right, cool. So me and this person both auditioned for American Idol. I want to say, I don't remember the exact feedback that she got, but I want to say it was something along the lines of, great voice, beautiful voice, but a little too trembly, a little too up and down,
nervous.
Something along the lines of being too nervous type of thing.
Yeah.
And so she didn't make it. I, on the other hand, because I made such an ass out of myself and did such a good job at making an ass out of myself, I was actually moved on to the second round. Because I made it, and everybody that did make it past the first round, they gave a certain little flyer to her, a colored piece of paper. And if you made it, you'd hold it up to the crowd and they would all cheer and everything. So I made it. I had my orange piece of paper, and I remember looking up and seeing all you guys where you guys were sitting. And I remember seeing you doing, like, hit
that back,
hit it. And the funny thing about it was, the whole day, the audition thing was like a 7, 8, 9 hour day.
Yeah, like, it was long.
We were there all day type of thing, trying to sleep in the bleachers, laying down. I was wearing this heavy ass Tigger costume the entire time. And so by the time came for me to that, I made it after my dance and song and dance and everything, Kyle's giving me the signal to do the backflip. I had no legs. I wasn't stretched out or nothing. I was wearing this heavy costume, but I did it. I threw myself back, almost broke my neck, landed on my face almost type of thing. I landed it, but, so they actually recorded that, and that little quick backflip that I did was what they showed on television. They didn't show any of my audition or anything like that. And I had my 0.3 seconds of fame. I went back for the following round. I went back for the following round, auditioned again, pretty much did the exact same thing. And I auditioned in front of the executive producer of the show, or one of the producers of the show. His name was Nigel Lithgow or something like that. I want to say his name was. I auditioned in front of him. I didn't audition in front of Simon and Paula and all them. The next one, if I would have made it past that, would have been in front of them. It was crazy. I went back. I auditioned in front of him. Obviously, I wasn't a singer. They said, you're very funny, very entertaining, but, not right for this competition. So I was eliminated at that point. So yes, I was on American Idol, but not what
I forgot a lot of the details of that trip, other than the backflip and Nick singing. But no, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's an awesome memory right there.
It was again one of the greatest times of my life, man. The people that were the random groups of people that were just like singing. I don't know if you remember it. Like they were just getting people doing a cappella. Groups of people that had never met before just started finding songs to sing, and they were singing. People were dancing. There was all kinds of stuff going on. It was a good time, man. The atmosphere was very, very cool. So I was 0.3 seconds of fame. I was on American Idol. It was either season 3 or 4, something like that. It was pretty early on to American Idol. So for those that want to go hunt it down, Find out when American Idol auditioned at the Cow Palace in San Francisco, and maybe you'll see Tigger hitting a backflip on TV. But yeah, a couple of the other questions we actually answered. It was in relation to the podcast, and when we were given our answers to it, we answered them. But there is one more for you. How tall is Kyle?
6'5" and a half. We're gonna call it 6'6". We're gonna call it 6'6". We're gonna give it that little extra half inch.
We'll say 6'6" because KJ is not here, so we can get away with it.
Yeah, for sure. KJ is like 6'7" though. He's a little bit taller than me.
And see, I know he's a little taller. I thought he said he was 6'6", but
no, he's a little taller than that.
Man, we've had some giants on this show. I know a few. It's funny because being out here, I've had a few people, comment on my height type of thing, and I used to always tell them like, man, I was one of the shorter ones of my hangout group in California. Yeah. Like I was not a tall dude, so it's funny for people to mention my height out here. I'm 6'1" on a good day, with shoes on first thing in the morning.
The first thing in the morning.
I think I'm shrinking though. I think I used to be a little bit taller, but I definitely went down a little bit. But yeah, I was never crazy tall. We got Kyle at 6'6". Corey was like 6'7" maybe. Justin we've had on here is like 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah.
Kevin's like 6'7". Devon 6'11". Almost 7 feet. Yeah, we had some big boys out there, man. But again, just with the people that I hung out with the most out in California, I was second or third shortest. Everybody was taller than me. So yeah, it's funny. It's funny to have so many comments about my height. So I tell them now that you and I are talking again, I tell them like, watch when you meet Kyle, watch when he comes out there. It's funny because even with you probably don't feel too tall a lot of the time being a basketball player, right?
The only time, depending on, oh my goodness, especially when I was with the Wizards, like I was one of the shorter ones.
Right, you're a small two guard.
Yeah, I was short. Even the football players at San Diego State, there were some big boys. Like they weren't short either. They were tall
like
and
300 pounds.
Right. So,
right.
Yeah, for sure. Even like around you, you don't really like understand the contrast. Like I would only see it if like we were like standing like in a mirror or like in a window, and like I could see the height difference. I'm like, oh damn, I am that much taller. But other than that, I didn't really like feel like that much taller, right? But yeah, definitely been taller than everyone for the longest time until sophomore year. I swear I stopped growing.
Really, you were the height that you are now in sophomore year? Wow, man, the growth spurt that you must have went through to get to that point, I can only imagine.
Oh, I know
growing. The growth spurt that I had and the growing pains, my thighs, how bad that used to hurt. I used to cry how bad it hurt.
Dang, that's crazy.
And I obviously didn't get to your height, so I can only imagine at such a young age too, growing that fast. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Absolutely.
Well, we there are a few other questions, but we can save them for another one. I got to wrap this one up, but again, appreciate those that chimed in and had a few of these questions. I absolutely love the engagement. I'm thinking about doing this again, get some more people involved and see what other questions that come up. Like I said, there are a few other ones that I'll save them, but yeah, man. Again, appreciate everybody that tunes in.
Absolutely.
Something that was pointed out to me before, I didn't even realize this. For those that are listening, that don't follow on social media because never realized that we had social media like that. You can find me at the Release Valve on Instagram. That's the only platform that I'm on right now. Maybe eventually I'll spread over onto X or Facebook or something like that. But for now, you can find me at the Release Valve. And where can people find you, Kyle?
I am on Facebook. You're on YouTube too. You forgot to say YouTube, or are you not on YouTube? You're on YouTube.
I am on YouTube.
Not on YouTube.
Yes.
You are on
Thank
YouTube.
you.
You are on YouTube.
I am on
Not on
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yes.
You are on
Thank
YouTube.
you. Yes, I am on
Yes,
YouTube.
you are on YouTube. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. However, the YouTube, the name's not popping up as efficiently as I would like to, so we got to figure that out. But Mental Warfare 100 on YouTube, and then at Mental Warfare. No, it's Mental Warfare on Instagram, 100 on Instagram as well. But yeah, I'm on Facebook, Mental Warfare. You can, I got my page up. You can follow that. But we're here. It's a marathon, and we're coming back strong this second time around. So definitely appreciate your engagement. Let's try and get some more engagement. Don't feel free. Don't feel scared to ask questions. Especially anonymously. What do you guys want to talk about? Like if there was something that we could help you improve on, what would it be? Ask us questions. We're here to try and help. We're here to try and build. We're here to try and grow. The goal is to achieve ultimate peace and happiness, and to create memories, and to leave this place happy. So let's do it. Let's connect.
And we can do it together. We're not in this alone. So absolutely. I love it. I appreciate you, brother, and looking forward to the next one, my man.
You have a blessed weekend.
Thanks, everybody.